All right, let's get some headlines from across the state. We'll do one quick one on a bit of a sad note to start it off, and that is that Rice football has announced today that former legend, former Al Southwest Conference fullback or running back, safety, did a little bit of everything there. All Southwest Conference back in 1955, and it consists of 54 and consensus All-American in 1954. Dicky Maegle. Dicky Maegle has passed away. He was 86 years old. Dicky Maegle was an All Southwest Conference player in 1954, an All-American player in 1954. He made the Pro Bowl in 1955. The pride of Taylor, Texas, the Taylor Duck. Believe it or not, he accepted a scholarship offer from Rice as a 16-year-old freshman, which is incredible because it was just the Wild West back then. But he is probably, because I told you, Shahan, that Dicky Maegle had passed away, and you kind of looked at me with like, Dicky Maegle, should I know that name? If you don't know that name, that's okay. He was a football player in the 50s, but you probably know a play he's involved in, which is in the 1954 Cotton Bowl when, and here's the thing that happened, Rice destroyed Alabama.
Yeah.
Let that sink in.
Yeah.
Rice throttled Alabama. Dicky Maegle was breaking off what was going to be a 95-yard touchdown run. He was in the clear. Nobody was going to catch him. And that is when Tommy Lewis from Alabama, without a helmet, jumped off the sideline and tackled him. It is one of the most famous plays in college football history. That was Dicky Maegle running the ball there.
Yeah. Well, here's a fun question. Do you know how old Rice Stadium was?
In 1955? 1954? No, I have no idea.
It was 4 years old.
Golly. We're talking way back when. But this was the referee at the time, I don't know who the official was. Cliff Shaw. He looked at that and he goes,
Cliff Shaw, of course.
Yeah. He goes, nah, he was going to score. So he awards him a 95-yard touchdown, which I appreciate. I appreciate letting common sense reign in something like that. Of like, no, he was going to go. Like, come on, let's not get crazy here. Like, throw a 15-yard penalty and cost him a touchdown. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I know that there are a lot of memorable plays from the 1950s Cotton Bowl.
Sure.
But that is the one that I do remember
That's
most.
the one. So Dicky Maegle has passed away at the age of 86. A terrific player. He in that game he set the all-time Cotton Bowl rushing record.
Wow.
Which was then broken in 2008 by Tony Temple of Missouri in a game that I was at.
Missouri, I don't know.
It's a public land-grant university. I think they're land-grant university in Columbia, Missouri, Central Missouri. Brad Pitt went there, but did not graduate.
Bobby Petrino's team?
We'll get there. It's fine. Okay. It's fine. Don Ferrer? No, it's fine. It's okay. We will. But anyway, Dicky Maegle has passed away at the age of 86, an All Southwest Conference star. Okay, let's get to the other thing, and this is the big thing that happened last week, which is NIL, national. Good Lord. It's Monday, guys, and by Monday I mean Tuesday. Name, image, and likeness.
I guess I brought my vacation fog to everybody.
You really did. It's just hanging over everybody.
It really is.
Name, image, and likeness became law for every NCAA student-athlete starting last week.
Yes.
And for those who don't know, name, image, and likeness basically means that the NCAA can no longer prevent student-athletes from profiting off of their name, image, and likeness. Think about the idea that fundamentally there's a reason that you didn't see commercials with Johnny Manziel in them while he was at A&M, even though he was like one of the most famous people in America. Right?
Yes.
That is now gone. Athletes can go and they can profit off of their name, image, and likeness. Now, I think you and I don't think we've ever actually sat down and discussed it, but I think you and I are pretty much on the same page, which is I am pretty much pro player agency in basically every regard.
Yes.
And this feels like the first step towards even more player agency.
Yeah.
We're lockstep there, right?
So here's one thing that I'll say, right, is that when I was in college at Baylor University, which again we'll talk about at the end of the program, I worked and did some stringing for the Dallas Morning News, and I got paid for it because I went to college to study something and then did some outside work. Very simple, right? I'm sure a lot of people did something similar. in the previous rules, that would not have been allowed for a college football player to do anything, not just anything football related, which obviously is a huge part, right? Like, there's so much talk about ads. There was an offensive lineman at Marshall University who is a singer who performs at open bars and would have gotten paid for it, but couldn't, right? This isn't just about football. They were barred in any way possible from making money off their name, image, or likeness. There was a UCF football player who was a kicker a while back, had a YouTube page. He had to take it down because it was monetized, right? Like, this isn't even, oh my gosh, they get so much extra stuff. This is, oh my gosh, finally they're where everybody else is.
Yes, that we will treat them like every other college student.
Right.
Where now, obviously, as Stephen Godfrey is calling them, the merit badge squad, the Boy Scouts out there are going to be very mad. And say, oh, this is the first step towards the destruction of college football, and I want to be clear, I'm not pro the destruction of college football.
Very brave.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your service.
But what I will say is, if your sport and the structure of the sport is reliant on making them the only adults in America who cannot profit off of their name, image, and likeness, then we got bigger problems than college football. Right.
And that's the thing. This is a return to just normal. This isn't saying that schools can give millions of dollars, anything like that. This is just saying that for being who you are, for having your face, for having your name, for having things that belong to you, you're allowed to make money off of it. And, one that always sticks out to me is Katie Ledecky, the swimmer. Just absolute superstar at the 2016 Olympics. She wanted to swim for Stanford, so she had to not accept any endorsement money in order to swim at Stanford. Right. And eventually she was like, I can't turn down millions of dollars. This is ridiculous, right? This is more than I'm ever going to make just earning a degree from Stanford even. So I'm going to stop swimming for Stanford because I just have to make this money, right? And that's just ridiculous, right? That's ridiculous. And I think that there's still steps to go. I don't want to act like this, to me, is the end of this, that this is enough, that this is acceptable, anything like that. But this is a first step. And I think that when you look at the landscape of what's happened already, there's been this talk about, oh, well, it's only going to be Spencer Rattler. He's going to be the only one who makes any money because nobody else is actually worth anything. Well, we've already seen so many athletes from so many different sports, men's and women's sports, Division I, Division II, Division III. So many different people make money off of this. And I think that's going to be something that's really cool is, hey, guess what? If you are the starting quarterback at North Texas, there's going to be an opportunity for you in Denton. If you are the starting left tackle at Wisconsin, right, there's going to be an opportunity for you. And so I think that's something that's already been really cool is realizing that, hey, there aren't just 7 football players who matter in America. Right. There's thousands of athletes.
Well, and it's a return. Like, if you're a fan of the free market, it's like, yeah, you should be cheering.
Whoa,
right?
Radical.
Yeah, again, I'm going out on some limbs here today, but this is just a return to the free market. And so, look, you're going to read a lot, and I think that what's going to happen, this is how I foresee this happen. And I know you and Ishmael Johnson are going to talk a lot about this on Republic Football, our outstanding college football podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice.
Hint, hint.
Republic Football. But here's what I think is probably what's going to happen. I think for the first month or two, there's going to be this flood of these stories that are going to make people go, oh my gosh, look at this. Look at D'Eriq King opening up his own store online. And by the way, his stuff is kind of fire.
It's good.
Really good.
I've seen
There's a lot of mid stuff.
Oh, yeah.
D'Eriq King's is not one of it.
D'Eriq King's is excellent. Oh, my gosh. Look at this. Isaiah Spiller was doing he sent out a tweet about a chicken finger restaurant in College Station. Oh, my gosh. Look at this. Look at that. Oh, there's coming out today that, like, a Miami booster is saying that he's going to make it so that he's going to make $500,000 available for endorsements and stuff like that. There's going to be all this, like, panic.
Right.
And then it's probably just going to settle in. And I think that it's going to be a pretty nominal, pretty nothing burger impact as far as college football exists right now.
Right. And again, there's been so much talk about like, well, all these rich programs are just going to funnel money to people. But like the reality is that for you to have value, you have to play and matter to your community. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's one thing that really got lost during this whole conversation was, you know what? It is, in many cases, more valuable to be a star at a mid-level school than to be a somebody or a nobody at Alabama, right? And so, and the other thing, too, is that it has to be said, because I don't know if this has totally gotten communicated, is that you cannot use the promise of endorsements, the promise of money in order to recruit. You can understand that once they get there, that they have more value being a student athlete at wherever. But, like, that's an argument that anybody can make. I've seen, the other day I saw UTSA, I think that it was Will Stein, their passing game coordinator, put out something like, listen, we are the number 7 market in the United States, and we are the only football team in town. Guess what? You can go to wherever, you can go to Florida State and, compete in the giant Tallahassee market, or you can be a superstar in San Antonio, Texas.
Right.
And guess what? You might get more ads this way.
Right. And it's like there are so many. It's just a return to a free market system in the sense that, like, let's take media for example.
Yeah.
Let's take media for example. If you are most concerned about making the biggest brand, your biggest brand possible, like, yes, would ESPN be a good choice for Shahan J-Raj in that regard? Yeah, absolutely. More than Dave Campbell's Texas Football. I love us very much. But no, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that nobody's ever going to come work for Dave Campbell's Texas Football, because not everybody has the same kind of, not everybody has the same kind of values. Not everybody has the same kind. I'm not saying values. That's sort of a value judgment. And not everybody has the same kind of things that are important to them.
Right.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
and the thing is too, right? Like, I think that's actually a really interesting example because, look, I am the Texas college football guy at this outlet, right?
Listen to this guy.
I know. A big talk, I know. But
I literally introduced you as the college football insider for Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Right.
Now I'm giving you trouble about it.
And so, like, in this space, I am king, right? Like, I am all that sort of stuff. And so,
love it.
Or I could, go to another outlet, maybe a nominally bigger outlet and just be a dude. Right.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, I guess I've gotten added to national voting, in national award voting. Right.
Yeah.
I've gotten added to national committees. I don't know if I have done that at a bigger publication necessarily. Right. This is the best situation for me. And I think that every college football player is going to just simply have to make the same decision that any other adult human has to make.
And here's the other thing. And then we'll move on, I promise. But I think the concern is like, oh man, now Alabama and Ohio State and all these guys, they're going to get all the 4- and 5-star prospects.
Oh no. Oh,
First
no.
of all, guys.
Oh boy.
First of all, guys, if you want to fix that,
be still my heart.
If you want to fix that, let's talk about the college football playoff. But
that's for another day.
That's for another day. But the thing is that I just don't think that a 4- or 5-star player who is ostensibly, at that point, you are thinking, I want to play in the NFL. If you're a 4- or 5-star player, I want to play in the NFL.
The reason that everybody goes to Alabama isn't because Alabama is going to funnel up more money. It's because they want to play in the NFL where they can make money.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, winning helps too. But yeah,
it does. But winning helps you get to the NFL.
Correct. Exactly right. That's not suddenly going to become a situation where, like the 4- and 5-star prospects are going to start being like, they're not going to start flooding to Rutgers is what I'm saying. Okay.
Yeah.
That I think that
I think you underestimate Greg Schiano.
I think I do. I just don't think that this is, I think there's going to be a lot of Chicken Littles. There's going to be a lot of the sky is falling from people who are, in my opinion, some of them are operating in bad faith. But I don't think that this is going to have some sort of seismic impact on what college football looks like. I just think that now you're just going to see some, like if you follow Austin Awney, he might just tweet about like, hey, by the way,
what's the place in Denton now?
Yeah,
right?
what's the place at Denton?
My favorite place is LSA, but
Okay,
We'll go with that.
Austin Awney might be like, hey, I really like LSA. You should try it. I don't
Yeah.
know what LSA is.
Yeah, you know what I'm really looking forward to?
What?
I'm really looking forward to some college kid, some college football player endorsing like a restaurant that everybody just thinks sucks. Like just the most basic place in town.
Yeah.
Like the Well Actually endorsement.
Right.
The Well Actually endorsement. It's like you might think that Jim's shrimp stinks, but the quarterback here at Abilene Christian, want you to know that in fact Jim's shrimp is awesome. #ad.
There's a lot of meme potential.
Oh
There
man.
is, there
And
is.
I will say, just to close this out, this is not a lot of money that we're likely
No.
talking about, right? Like Derek King, who's one of the biggest stars in the whole sport, right? Talked about on the first day, he signed deals worth potentially up to $20,000, which is a lot of money for De'Aaron King, right? But it's not like it's not millions and millions, right? That's just being funneled to get some kid to go somewhere. Because the other thing too is like you even talk about funneling and that sort of thing, right? Like, hey, guess what? There's 85 players on a college football roster. It's hard to figure out how to funnel money.
Yes,
it's just really hard. And so, it's going to be a couple $1,000s for a lot of kids, and that's going to be a life-changing amount of money for a lot of kids.
And I think it's cool too that I know some of these kids are using that money for good, like this opportunity for good. Like Casey Thompson, projected starter for Texas, he's using all of his donating all of his proceeds to a program called No Kid Hungry. It's a national campaign that was designed to fight hunger.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool.
I think you're going to see that a lot. Cool. I think you're going to see a lot of guys that. And yes, I want to be clear because your point is well taken. There are people who are going to go out there and profit off this.
Yes.
And that's good. That's kind of the point.
It's good.
Right. But I also think what you're going to see is guys who are like, hey, if you want to improve your image, if you want to improve your brand, Casey Thompson, a perfect example of a guy who probably thinks he wants to go play in the NFL. He doesn't think Texas is his last stop, hopefully. He wants to improve his brand. He's going to be like, hey, you know what? I want to show that I'm a good citizen. I'm a good member of the community and stuff like that. So
I believe like Casey Thompson, I believe is like the son of a former college football player. Like I don't think his family needs money, right? There's going to be examples where there are people who need money, and it is a very good thing. Like Jamias Ramsey was one, right? Like his mom's, he was a basketball player at Texas Tech. Like his family's house burned down, and he was like, I need to make money right now. And the best part about it, and I think one of the things that's going to be healthiest for college sports heading forward, is that if you are in a situation like that where you need to make money, there will be opportunities available to you to where you can still play college sports.
Right. Okay. There's some NIL talk. You can probably get more of it. You guys haven't recorded it.
No, it's tomorrow.
But you can get more of it on the new episode of Republic of Football, starring Shahan Jarraj and Ishmael Johnson, expertly produced by Mallory Hartley. If you go to texasfootball.com or to the podcast vendor of your choice, looking for Republic of Football.